Hi
Hi guys.
guys, welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
We are your hosts. I'm Ashley.
I'm Temi.
I'm Ayo. Hi everyone.
Hi.
You're going to see from the title, we're talking about racism in the light of what's happened recently.
In America.
Let's not even talk recent because racism is rampant every single day. But obviously, everybody knows what's happened recently with the killing of George Floyd by the police in Minneapolis in America.
Yeah.
We also want to talk about a lady because one thing we've been seeing is that Black women don't get the same recognition when they die as well by the hands of the police.
Correct.
So her name is Breonna Taylor. So we want to say her name. And we're going to leave the names of everybody as well at the end of the video because we want people to know that this is serious. These things are happening.
Just to raise awareness as well.
To raise awareness. So yeah, we're going to be talking about racism, about our thoughts about videos like that being shared on the internet, about why Black people need to stand up, about why being silent is being complicit, about
it's not the answer. Yeah.
I want to make sure that you guys get, we're not only talking about racism in America, we're talking about racism period. Like,
yes, not just in America.
UK, and we're aware that there's racism here.
100%. Come on,
and
what?
It looks
the only, by God's grace, I think the only thing that's making it different, the big difference at this point is the gun privileges here. Like, we're not able to
facts.
I think that's what our saving grace is, and even at that, it's still happening. You know,
it's still happening, and just because it's happening differently doesn't mean it's not happening.
100%.
Everybody to know we are well aware that it happens here. We're not saying that the UK.
100%.
We're not saying the UK is because it's not
innocent. It's not innocent.
And right. To all the Christians that might watch this video and say something, you can have righteous anger, and you can stand for justice. There is a Bible verse about love that clearly states, love does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins. And that's why we're making this video.
Right.
I also wanted us to quote from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8 to 10, that says, though we experience every kind of pressure, we are not crushed. At times, we do not know what to do, but quitting is not an option. We are persecuted by others, but God has not forsaken us. We may be locked down, but not out. We continually share in the death of Jesus in our own bodies so that the resurrection life of Jesus will be revealed through our humanity. And we're making this video to give hope. So I guess the first...
I just add to what you said as well, an emphasis on the fact that God doesn't turn a blind eye to injustice. He's not seeing all of this and rejoicing in heaven. That's not the God that we serve. That is not the God that we read about. Absolutely not. He's not turning a blind eye to it. He's not a God of favoritism. There's not one race that's above the other. So what has been going on is despicable. And I know vengeance belongs to the Lord.
So the first item on our list that we want to talk about is what are the roots? What are the roots of racism? Because we want to go to the core. We can't just talk about the symptoms. We need to talk about where it comes from. So whoever wants to address that.
Who wants to start? I think I'll go.
Go for it, Timmy. Yeah.
I think mine is brief because I feel like I was having this conversation with a friend yesterday, like the root of where racism came from, and he said, his opinion was, he said money, and I told him to obviously expand on that, and obviously back to like the slave trades, and before the slave trades, why Africans were used as slaves in the first place, because of land, because of money, and because of all these things. But obviously, from what I know of how slavery came about, it was, I don't know if I'm correct, but Black people were basically in Africa and the whites came over there.
Thriving, by the way, we were thriving in Africa. Not something.
Yeah, that's a key point.
It's very key because there was actually absolutely nothing wrong with Africa. You know, they were thriving in Africa. I think everything was great in Africa, and they've come over. I don't know the reason why they came over actually, but they've come over, and funnily enough, what I believe, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think it has to be true because the whites weren't acting alone. Because it's unfortunate that some like the, I don't know, politicians or the government back then in Africa or whatever country, like let's say Nigeria, for example, because it's usually around West Africa. The kings back then, they sort of, well, not all of them, but some of them had to have allowed this to happen, sort of like giving some sort of permission for this to happen, because I don't genuinely believe white men, they've come to Africa, and remember, we're still the majority because they've come to us and they've sort of just let this happen. Do you know what I mean? They had to.
They put us against each other. That's how they started.
Yes, exactly. They've put us against each other. So the kings back there and the people on the higher level of the hierarchy, they've come and they've said it was okay, or they've given them some sort of I don't know, money or bribery or whatever to take the black people that live in those countries and then ship them to like America and all these other places. And then obviously now that we're looking back in today's world, like Africans or black people were spread all over the world for that reason. So I think that's sort of how it came about. But in terms of like racism, that's also part of racism. Like slavery is a big part of racism, and it's something that I don't think will ever go away. Like,
just to elaborate
on
your point, Temi, with the fact that, you know, our government, when I say our government, I mean government back home. I'm Congolese, obviously. If you're Nigerian, they were complicit. Like they were, in terms of like when white people came over, they gave like a small minuscule, or whether it be money or like a promise of land in exchange for
weapons, something.
For weapons, and then of course eventually people that lived there in those countries
were taken away.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely, it's sad.
It's sad.
Thinking that, you know, you can turn. We see it today as well. Like
I was gonna say that. Literally, it still happens in this day and age. Yeah.
See, like for my Congolese people, you know, like how the president that just literally left, he was in power for over 12 years. Where do you hear something like that?
Like out of what? For what reason?
And I just want to make it clear.
Ran that country into the ground. So obviously, I don't want to put it all down to our people, because it's definitely, a lot of it is on, I don't want to say white people, but the colonizers.
Yeah.
You know, I want to just say, oh, this video is just about, oh, our people are green. That's a whole other video.
That's a whole, no, it's not about that. Yeah, so, I get you, Ashley. So we're talking about the foundation.
Yeah, to round up the point, I think it plays a massive part on the beginning and the catalyst of racism.
And I just wanted to make it clear that when we're saying they were complicit in that stuff, it's not that they didn't realize what they were doing. Because when they came to the African continent, they gave them stuff like ammunition, which they thought, oh, okay, we need it, but they didn't realize that.
Yeah, just resources that they were lacking.
Yeah, so they didn't realize that by doing these things, they were selling out their people, and then eventually it became the slave trade. But it started off as trading stuff, and then it became trading people. Do you get
people? Yeah, 100%.
So that's how it is, though. Like you trade so that you can have the better end of the stick. Unfortunately, that's how it was.
And they thought they were getting the better end of the stick, not knowing that whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then it turned, obviously, eventually everybody would clock on, and then you hear stories about how slaves would jump off the boat because they knew what was going on. But not to even...
Yeah, they knew what they were going to, they knew how they treated.
What was going on, and not to copy them, so I'm just going to add a different layer to it. So I would say the roots of racism are power, because what happened was, it's an abuse of power. That's what I would say the roots of racism are. It's abuse of power and that supremacy thing, that superiority complex where white people have taken it to believe that they are the supreme race above black people, above other races. We're talking about black people today. And that has led to them feeling like they can extort black people, abuse black people, make people think that they are less than human, and, you know, essentially try and make themselves the dominant race above black people. And so
all of this is just because of the colour of our skin.
All of it, yes.
That's what makes it a bit more, not even a bit, that's what makes it very, like, it's just a concept that I still can't accept. It's genuinely just because we are just a different colour to them. Do you know what I mean? All of this started because of our skin colour. Like,
and when
what's that?
When you actually think about it, it's like, just to elaborate off of your point as well, like with power, another subheading under that would be like difference, because we don't look the same. That's why now you feel like you're superior or you're deserving of to be higher in the hierarchy. And it's like, when you actually think about it, it doesn't make sense. It genuinely doesn't.
And it's been passed on from generation to generation to generation. And it's a thing where now in this age, the generation that we're in right now is just, it's been happening. But obviously now social media is about, like, literally I saw a quote from Will Smith, racism has always existed or whatever, and the reason why it seems like it's a lot now is just because we're able to film it. There hasn't been much difference. It's always been like that, you know. But why should we always have to be on guard and always feel like we have to record it just so you can believe, you know?
And that literally leads on to our next point about how do we feel about the videos that come out when these, like, so obviously that was in the past, right? But we're talking about modern day racism in this video.
Modern day, like, so, what we, Can I start with that one, please?
Yeah,
go for it.
Okay, so I don't know if a lot of people would have noticed on my Insta story yesterday when the video resurfaced, or when the video was circulating the internet. I watched it, and do you know what? I was actually on my bed. I cried like a baby. Like, I actually cried. Usually I don't watch those videos. Usually when it comes to police brutality, obviously we know what happened at the end. They usually die, or, you know, they're severely injured. So it's really sensitive to me, so I never watched it. But this particular one, I don't know what made me watch it, but I decided to watch it from beginning to end. And it was just, honestly, like, I don't know how to explain it. It really hurt, and I cried. I cried so much. Like, I cried so much. And I think what made it worse is just the fact that, I don't know if did any of you see the video?
Yeah, I watched it.
At the end of it, obviously, for someone that hasn't watched it, you know that a police officer was on his neck, right? That's how he passed away. And obviously the people that were recording, everyone around did not notice he had died on the scene right there and then. So obviously it was just like, let go of him, let him breathe. That's what people were saying. And then eventually, when he wasn't responding or anything, this police officer that had his leg on his neck was still there after he still passed away. He still didn't let go even after he died. So it was just almost like, for what? You know, what for? What did you gain? What were you trying to accomplish, you know? And also, even though that other video as well, I forgot his name, the one where the father and the son, Ahmaud, even that was, it's just like, this man was just like any of us. Like, imagine waking up in the morning, we're in lockdown, I just want to go for a run. That's all I wanted to do. And he never returned home.
Can you imagine?
He never returned home.
It's like, it's just so
it was really hurtful. It was really hurtful.
Yeah.
It was something that I couldn't explain. It was really hurtful. And honestly, obviously, like, how do I say it? Of course, because he's black, because we know that's the reason he died, it was a lot worse. But no human being should be treated like that regardless. But it makes it 10 times worse that he died because of the color of his skin, you know?
Literally.
So it was honestly out of this world. Inhumane, man.
That's the word.
I think in regards to whether the videos, you know, if people should be filming and posting it, I think it's necessary, because people have to know that this is still going on. And as hard as it is to watch it, as hard as it is to constantly see it, especially being black and seeing just a fellow brother or sister dying at the hands of people that are supposed to protect, and that swear to the badge to protect all, but yet because of the colour of someone's skin, they feel like they're above the law and can take matters into their own hands. It's sad, and I get why people don't want to watch the video, in terms of, you know, because it is a lot. Like, I'm the same with Temi. When I watched it yesterday, I don't say I regret watching it, but it was definitely like it ruined my day. It ruined my day. It just, even till now, even when I woke up this morning, I woke up with a heaviness.
My day's still ruined.
Yeah, I woke up with a heaviness, because it's just like, God, that's someone's son, that's someone's brother, that's someone's friend.
That's just someone as well. That's someone.
And I don't think what people are getting is that his family members, they're probably calling him thinking, oh, why is he not responding? What's going on? They've woken up to see that's how he's died, through that video. And of course, yes, it's a lot. Yes, it's heavy. It's what's
happening. It's reality.
It's what's happening. Like, you can't. what else are people supposed to do? You know, we've gone through years of not recording it, and people saying, oh, but we don't know the full story, we don't know what's truly happened, to now people are actually recording it, and now people are saying it's still not enough. Is okay, but what happened before they started filming? What happened after they stopped filming? It's like these videos are necessary, because without these videos, it's almost like
we're not believed.
The black person was in the wrong, that they deserved it. What could they have done to provoke it?
Exactly. And so I think I used to be that person that was like, oh, but why are you filming? Why can't you help? Listen,
no, you have to film.
You have to film. And even to the people saying, oh, don't film, help. If you actually watch the video, there's actually 3 police officers that were actually on.
There were 4
one person.
Yeah, that was one person.
Yeah, 4 for one
was standing trying to get the people back, because the other people standing on the other side couldn't see that there was actually.
Was it the Asian one?
Yeah, the Asian one. He was trying to get people to move back so that they couldn't see that there was 3 police officers on George Floyd.
And just to say, sorry to interrupt you, Ashley. In that point of instead of filming, help, in that position, in that situation, as a bystander, someone that's just passing by, there's nothing you can do besides film, because obviously police officers are there. They're not gonna let you go there. What exactly are they expected to do? They can't harass a police officer, because then that would become their case too.
Exactly.
So all they can do in that moment is generally film.
There was a bystander there who was black, and they actually interviewed him, I believe, either on CNN or another news channel in America, and he said that in that moment you feel so conflicted, because you know that on a normal day you would help, but because he was black as well, and he's a black male, he knew that had he actually interfered in this situation, the Chinese officer, the Asian officer, sorry, he looked like he was ready to beat someone already. And imagine, had things gone differently, we would have had 2 hashtags, the bystander
basically.
and do you get what I'm saying? Sorry for the long answer.
I hear that. No, I hear both of you. I'm kind of half and half, because yesterday I watched a video, and I do believe that these videos are necessary, because it puts it in the faces of people that want to tell us we're making a big fuss out of nothing.
Yeah.
Then it also dehumanizes people, because it becomes something that looks like a spectacle. And someone said something on social media that's like, how many videos have you seen of a white person dying like that? You can't count 10. You can't count 10.
I haven't seen any.
And like those last moments of someone's life, like basically the illustration in the video I watched was that the beginning of a person's life and the end of a person's life is supposed to be private to that person. Like usually when someone is born, it's in a hospital and nobody else is allowed in the room except the people necessary. And usually when someone dies, it's literally their family with them on their deathbed and that's it. But then we are all sharing in somebody's death. And it's no longer sacred to that person. That person is used as a spectacle, is used as an icon. As much as I do see why people need the videos, I also think that it makes people see us as a spectacle. Like how for the years they've seen us as a spectacle, where it's like black life is it's like an object. Like it can come, it can go, it can come, it can go. You could just be seeing us there dying, and it's okay, like it's normal to post it. Do you get what I mean? And it's not normal to do that to anybody else. Do you get what I'm saying? It's usually like if you even seen a dog, nobody wants to watch a dog being killed, but everybody's watching a black man dying on camera, and it's like,
of course. I 100% agree with you, Ayo. I do 100% agree. And do you know what you were saying?
Sorry, go on, Tammy. It's not normal.
It's not normal at all. And you know what you were saying in terms of the beginning of a human's life and the end should be sacred and private and stuff like that. I feel like that's part of why we're fighting, is because that's how it should be. We've been pushed to the extent of having to record these things, because like Ashley said before, if it's not recorded, it never happened, or you never know what actually happened, what provoked it. So we've gotten to that point where we are forced to have to record it. We're forced to have to show these things. Like, let's say, you know how racism is one thing. Let's say like the whole thing that's going on in all these Asian countries, or I don't know, like Israel, let's say, like all these wars that are going on in these countries.
The Middle East,
you know how in the Middle East, and you know how the children there, they're recording the children there, and all the the buildings breaking apart, even though they shouldn't really be showing that, because at the end of it, it's very sensitive. That's a human life. But because I've never been to the Middle East like that, I would never have known the extent of these things happening if I hadn't seen these images, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? So back to racism, I feel like that's why, even though I'm honestly on the fence, we shouldn't be sharing these videos, you know, but they have been recorded for a reason. That is why Instagram and Twitter should actually do this as well. Before you watch the video, they warn you that this is sensitive. You can choose to watch it or you can choose not to watch it. And I remember posting the video earlier on with no disclaimer, and I had to delete it, and then I put up a post saying, you know, letting people know that, look, I'm about to post something, you don't have to watch it if it's sensitive. And then I posted it after, even though I ended up deleting it overall in like 5-10 minutes, because really and truly it's just sad. Like, I just didn't want anyone to see that, but at the same time we have to see it to know how severe these situations are, you know?
Everything both of you said is actually not normal. Like, the amount of information we consume anyway on a day-to-day basis is not normal. But this is the reality of it. Even the fact that I'm so happy you even brought up, oh, if people see a dog die, they feel so heartbroken. The reality is, some people have higher regard for animals than they do
black people.
You know what
Can you believe that?
This is the reality of it. It's now gotten to the point where people have said enough is enough. I don't care how you feel anymore. This has to be on display. Like, this has to be shown, because otherwise, how else can we move forward? How else can justice be served? You guys have asked us for evidence. We've given you evidence. You're still asking for more. Like, what? Like, people are fed up, and rightfully so.
And do you know what's the maddest part? Like, okay, When They See Us, I think, came out last year. And it's like, you're continually asking black people for evidence. Let a white person say they encountered a crime. Which evidence are you asking for? You're ready to already accuse a black person that has no evidence against them for a white person's crime.
Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. That video, there was a video that was circulating. This was literally like just under a week before this happened. Like, what the hell? And I don't know the name of the man, but there was a white woman on the phone.
Amy Cooper.
And yes, Amy Cooper was on the phone, and we know your name, Amy Cooper. So she was literally even strangling her dog. That's how much she was angry, because a black man told her to put her dog on a leash, because she just didn't want to take. She didn't want to take an order. She didn't want to take an order because it was coming from a black person. Because I'm sure if that was a white person that told her, she would have done that very politely. Because what was being asked to do was no harm to anyone, and she literally picked up the phone, lied, and said she was being threatened, making it sound like the black man had done a lot more. Imagine there was no evidence of that.
Which is why I understand why videos are necessary. I just think it's about how we circulate them. I think we should be careful how, like what Temi was saying earlier, beautifully leads on to what else we wanted to talk about how you should use, how do you react to those videos? How do you go about, should you be sharing them? Should you blah, blah? Is it helpful? Is it hurtful? I think you have to be careful, because if you're just circulating it with no education, with no awareness, no nothing, you're just circulating it, it's just causing more trauma for more black people. I think you have to be smart, you have to use wisdom with how you do this. I still haven't watched a video. I didn't watch the video about Ahmaud. I didn't watch the video with, I can't watch these things because they leave me feeling like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, I just, if
you feel helpless.
You're watching people's life, you're watching their life leave their body in a video, and it's supposed to be normal. Like, I was on Twitter yesterday, and somebody tweeted, our teacher showed us roots in class like it was normal. Like, it's not normal to watch stuff like that and just be told, okay.
That was showed in school, public school.
To young people some people had never even heard of the story of roots before they got to that.
That's all, yeah.
Then show it to them. And that's sensitive images that can leave somebody scarred for life. Without the right education, without the right wisdom used to educate somebody on it, you can leave a person just broken.
Exactly. And how it's handled afterwards, like they show that video, okay, just do 1-2 project on it and then done.
And then it's done.
That is traumatic, and what that does psychologically as well, that is dangerous, and it's just, it's crazy.
It's so crazy because we're also told that's our history. That's the only history we have. Our black people started before slavery. I need people to know that too. We have a 100% rich history. We're not.
Our history is wiped away. That's why we don't know about it. It's been wiped away right before.
And that's part of racism. It's part of racism, making us feel like we are inferior race. But anyway,
100%.
We're told to get over it as well.
Literally.
Imagine.
So, moving on from that point, right? We want to talk about what privilege is. We need people to know that privilege is a real thing, and it's not meant to be a negative thing. It's not meant to be a thing that makes you feel bad about yourself, but it's a thing. It's meant to make you feel aware. You're meant to be aware that you have privilege.
Right.
So, what would you guys say privilege is? White privilege specifically, not black privilege. Because what is black privilege? Anyway,
sorry, guys, mind if I reference this picture that you
I was going to, but I didn't want to even go for it.
You posted it on your story, and I just think how it's worded is just wonderful. So white privilege doesn't mean your life hasn't been hard. It means your skin tone isn't one of the things making it harder. White privilege exists as a direct result of both historic and enduring racism, biases, and practices designed to oppress people of color. White privilege means you actively benefit from the oppression of people of color. It's also rooted in systemic racism, and So I love that last point when it says it means you actively benefit from the oppression of people of color, because even if black people. I'm so glad that you even said that, Ayo. That it's not meant to make you feel. I think the connotation that some white people think white privilege has is it's supposed to be like a negative connotation. It's supposed to make them feel guilty that they shouldn't go on living their lives. But like you said, it's an awareness. It's knowing that it exists. It's knowing that it's there. It's knowing that...
And not being ignorant to the fact that it exists. Like, it exists.
The things that affect black people, it's not going to affect you as a white woman or as a white man. For example, obviously, I can say that I've never directly experienced racism, but I have experienced... I remember going on the train into Central, and I think I was literally the only black person on the underground, on the tube. And I remember just seeing these group of white women, literally like the stares that I was getting. And I was thinking, like, what's going on? Is there something on my face? Like, what is it? Like, what's going on? And it's just because I'm black. I feel like that stemmed in white privilege, because it's this entitlement that, being on places like the tube, being in central London is only meant for a higher class of people, which is white people, or being in certain places that you think belongs to you.
So white people, yeah.
That's entitlement. Even like the woman, Amy Cooper, I saw another video of these black men who were in the gym minding their business. A white man has come up to them asking them, are you allowed to be in here? Let me see your ID. Why do I have to show you my ID? Why do you have that entitlement? That is white privilege, thinking that you can walk into a place and because you're uncomfortable,
are you the police?
That's harassment. You have no title. That building does not belong to you. You only lease an office in that building, and you think that you're entitled to walk up to black men who are minding their business
and ask them for ID and ask if
that's why I
believe that. That's white privilege.
It's as simple as that. And if you didn't catch it, you didn't want to listen. That's it.
You just didn't want to understand, because it's very clear, simple, right in front of your face, honestly. And it exists.
If all you can hear when people are telling you about white privilege is, you're trying to make me feel bad, you're part of the people.
It's not about you. It's actually, honestly, it's not about you. Stop making a situation that's nothing to do. It's not about you. It's about understanding that it exists and admitting that it exists. Like,
and what you can now do to help.
I shared this quote that we posted, and it said, some people are more concerned with and afraid of being perceived racist than the actual oppression and injustice black people deal with. And that is a problem. Because it's not about you.
Quick one. What do you think about, obviously, the other races, especially white people? Do you feel like they should be able to speak up with all these injustices and all these things that we're seeing on the internet? Do you feel like their silence is not needed? Like, do you feel like they should be silent, or do you feel like this is something where
their silence is complicit?
Yeah, that's the next part. Why is it not enough to be why it's not enough to just not be racist? Like, it's not about not being racist. It's about being anti-racist.
That's you washing your hands out of it, not being racist. Or I'm not racist, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. It's not my business.
Problem.
No, when you're silent about fellow human beings, you have to understand, right, that we are all human beings, as in we were created the same. We are the exact same. We just have a different skin tone to you. And that should be enough for your heart to bleed for other human beings. And if it's not enough, then you have a problem.
Yeah. 100%. Do you know what it is? That's basically indirect racism, really and truly, if you think about it deep down. Yeah. Because another human being and you, because it's not happening to your family member, it's not happening to anyone, really and truly.
It's not enough to just not be racist, and this is what actually, if I'm honest, this is what really angered me. Seeing that the non-black people who have benefited from our culture, who have stolen from our culture, I can say, who fetish after our black men, who desire and fantasize about having mixed kids, who want our rhythm but not our blues. I love that statement. I saw that on social media. That's not my quote, by the way. Don't quote me, guys. Who
relevant?
Yeah, who benefit from
who want to be black until it's time to be black. Period.
Be black.
Okay.
Who yesterday were completely silent. There was nothing said. There was just we couldn't see you. We couldn't hear you. We couldn't find you. You just had nothing to say.
That's crazy, and you know.
That's not okay with me. That is a very, very big problem. And the fact that you find it comfortable to not have anything to say, that alone tells me where you stand and how you feel. Your silence is also
loud.
100%.
It's deafening. Your silence is deafening.
100%.
I can hear it.
You can hear it. It's ringing in the atmosphere.
Clearly.
And I will just to clarify why it is compliance, is because if I'm a witness to something that is bad and I do not try within my power to do something about it, I am indirectly saying it is
enabling.
Okay. I'm indirectly saying that behavior is not worth my attention, which means you are compliant. Because if something bothers you enough, you will try your best. No one is saying that you should be killing yourself for somebody. Nobody's saying that, but at least do your part. There's things everybody
do your
can
part.
do.
The little that you can do, the little we can all do, we're all doing. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard to raise awareness and speak about something just because it doesn't include you or your race or your family. You don't care. What does that say about the human race, man? Aliens are probably laughing at us.
And can I just say also, even the non-black people that did actually pull up and that did have something to say, and that, for example, white people that actually made statements and that actually addressed their own people saying, this is not it, we can't be silent. It's
not going unnoticed. It's not unnoticed.
Thank you. And those are not the people that I'm addressing. The people that I'm addressing, the people we're addressing, are the people who, when it's time to get down, when it's time to party, you're here. But
when it's time to say the N-word, when you're listening to your favorite rap song,
you're there, you're loud. You're there to
very loud.
You're there to argue why
you should be allowed to say it too. Yeah.
But it comes with the issues behind that word, the history of that word.
You're nowhere to be found. You're missing.
I can't see you.
Can you imagine?
Right, come on. We're going to move on to why what John Boyega is doing is necessary. Okay?
Phenomenal.
That is, I need you guys to understand how proud.
Listen,
when I was
John Boyega, he's
a king amongst men.
Like, do you know, okay, I need to give everybody the scenario that he's in right now, because I think people are not understanding why what he's doing has so much gravity, right? It has gravity because this guy is in an industry that they're so quick to blackball people whenever they speak just something that is politically incorrect, right?
Right.
He has put himself on the line and said, listen, my people are being persecuted every single day, and I'm not just going to stand here like an idiot, like an egg, and let it happen. And that is exactly why what he's doing is very necessary.
The way you should.
He's using his platform. Like, he knows that he's in a place of privilege, and I don't like the word privilege. He's in a place where he has a platform. He's in a place
He
where
has the means, the tools.
the means, exactly, and he's using it properly. His mate, I mean, not talk about his mate, but
And can I say, this John Boyega thing came about and started just because the guy tweeted that he hates racists. So I don't understand what was so hard to understand. Who likes racists? Who likes the people that would really blow that out of proportion are people that clearly likes racists, because how can you have a problem with that? I hate racists. What is wrong with that?
You people that hated him saying he hates racists, do you love racists? Are you a racist?
I don't. And I saw someone say, "Oh, hate is a strong word." No, I said what I said. I hate racists. Don't correct me. I know what I said.
I hate the acts of racism. Yes, I do. I hate that.
I hate anything that is contrary to who God is. Racism is one of it. So I hate it.
You want to say something else?
God, I'm sorry.
I really don't understand.
Because I don't understand. Do you want him to take it back because he's not?
You know what's so funny? People are actually exposing themselves because
showing their asses on God's internet. Sorry.
His original tweet, his first tweet was, "I bleed
effing
racists."
Yes.
Now people have come underneath it saying, "Oh, you hate? Does that mean you hate white people? You hate us? You hate me?
Are you racist?"
Yeah. So the key word in that tweet was racist. Mm-hmm. If the shoes does not fit, why are you feeling?
Why are you forcing your big toe inside of it? Showing your
and
arse.
you know what's so mad?
Showing your arse.
The fact that people decided to go to John Boyega and do all these things and just, harass him for no reason, I think that sort of helped because it empowered his point a lot more, because then he decided to go on Insta Live and make a whole video still addressing the issue but emphasized it more, because it's English language. I hate racists.
Do you know what he's showing, Teddy? The fact that he even said English comprehension, people didn't finish school. They didn't study. Because if you finished school, you would know that GCSE, there's English language and English comprehension. English comprehension enabled us to dissect sentences and to
100%. 100%.
So the fact that you took that statement, turned it around, and made it about you, again, entitlement.
Actually, do you know why when I said my point, do you know why I didn't even say English comprehension? Because there's nothing to really comprehend, because it's clear in your face. Like, it's just English it's just the language. I hate racism. When you hate something, you don't like it. And who likes racists? It's just simple. Like, what do you need to comprehend?
You know what it showed? It showed that a lot of people are scared to take a stand. It showed how many people are actually afraid to say, okay, this is wrong, and I'm going to stand up for it.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
He's doing, and then, sorry, we're going to also move on to the people. So we're talking about the other people that show their asses and show that maybe they support racism, but we're also going to talk about the other people that show their ass and said, you're not even big enough to do what you're doing right now. You're messing up your money. Is money the only thing in this life that you're going to cry about?
I am sorry, can you say it for what it is? It was black people. There were certain black individuals telling John Boyega, you're not where you should be yet, so be quiet. Wait until you make more money. You haven't made enough money for you to.
Can you imagine? Can you actually imagine that?
Let's pause. He's made millions.
Imagine everyone took that same approach.
What else do you want him to do with the money?
Imagine black people. Imagine as a community, we all took that approach, because we're not where we want to be. We're not going to talk about injustice. So we should let them continue killing us because there's no money.
But that's the approach some people have anyway.
Can you believe that?
You know how
it's true. That's 100%. A lot of black people have that mentality. It's crazy, because at the end, this is part of the issue. This is what we are talking about. We're trying to address black people as a community, as a group, and you're out here taking yourself out, being selfish, taking yourself out of the circle. Because really and truly, back in the days when it was slavery, you would 100% have been part of us. So I don't understand how you're taking yourself out, and now it's about money, and you're not where you need to be. Let me make my money, and then I'll speak up. There'll be no black people will be there by the time you make it. God forbid, they would all be gone by the time you make the money. Who do you need to speak to then?
Period.
I don't understand.
When
How
I saw
can you
that,
have a time to speak up? Why should you have to have a time to now speak
and
up?
money,
It's happening
a certain amount
now.
of
It's
money in your
happening
bank
right
account.
now. It's happening right now. So I'm speaking up right now. I'm not going to wait till I have what in my bank account. I don't have anything, half of even a quarter of what John Boyega says. But I'm going to use my platform and speak up. I don't get it.
Because
Exactly.
some of you are happy to sell yourselves out every single day. And if you're one of that kind of black person, you need to take a long look in the mirror. You want to sell yourself
You're
out.
not well.
Sell
That's
yourself out
selfishness
Because
and
you're
greed. That is selfishness
You're
and
still
greed. That's from
black at the end
within.
of the
That
day.
is selfishness and greed.
I don't know what
Your
you're
fellow
seeing.
black people are dying, but you're talking about money.
I don't know what
Sorry,
you're
you need
seeing
to
when
fix
you look
it.
in the mirror. Maybe because you've had education in a certain place, whatever. At the end of the day, you're still black.
And what makes it more painful is black people that are that tweet that was I know, like me personally, I'm speaking about a specific tweet that I saw, and there was that black man that said it. It was so hurtful that it was a black man that said that. How dare you?
Embarrassing.
What are you even saying right now?
Like, it's actually disgusting. I can't lie to you. Sickening. Because you're talking about John Boyega's money, but I'm sorry, Uncle Tonton.
What do you even know that he has in his account? What do you know that he owns?
Let me even be careful. Anyway, moving on. Why black people need to be better, okay? So I need to make a point very clear. When we're talking about racism is racism, and it's nothing, it hasn't got anything to do with, oh, okay, black people, it's our fault that this is happening to us. I'm not saying none of that. But I'm saying now that we have the awareness, now that we have the education, we need to do better. We need to do better. Community-wise, we need to do better.
We do.
We need to
supporting
band
each other.
together.
We need to do better, man. So do you know what it is? As much as we wanna blame, or not blame, because we're not blaming black people. As much as we wanna say we need to do better, 100%, I do agree. We need to do better, but this is deep. This is way beyond that, because this is what it's always been. Black people, we've always been segregated within our community. We've never really got along. So now this is like
because of this. It is
because of 100% because of this.
Yes. And that's why I'm saying we need to. So it's almost like we need to work backwards, right? We know that the reason we're divided is not our fault. So we're not going to blame ourselves for the problems within our community. But we have to also see ourselves as, okay, actually, we need to be careful with that, because I have been seeing people say people need to be careful about saying black people are the solution, because the people that created this have to fix their mess. I agree with that.
Yeah.
White people
100%.
Destroy this hierarchy and systematic racism.
Why should we have to fix something that they've done?
Yeah.
Even if we do sort out our issues within our community, we're still...
It's still wider than that. It's still bigger than us. It's bigger than us as a community.
Exactly.
A lot bigger than us as a community.
That was never created to...
But to 100%. 100%.
So yes, we can do all of that, but if the hierarchy, like I was saying, if those in power, the white people in power, don't fix that mess, it's just what we're doing is for nothing.
Yeah. That's why when we're calling white people to speak out on these injustices, speak up. We're not saying it just because we want you to talk. We're not saying it just because we're screaming. We need you to shout too. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be resolved from the people that caused it, unfortunately. Yeah. Like Ashley said, we can resolve it within ourselves. We can do what we need to do to be empowered within ourselves. Cool, now, black people, we've done what we needed to do. We're empowered now, but racism still exists.
Okay, if you're black, what we need is for you to not sit down. Don't sit down and say, okay, this is happening, and it's going to continue happening, and it's going to happen. No. Don't sit down, because I think a lot of black people are like, okay, well, this is just what is happening to us. So
it's just unfortunate. You're basically accepting defeat. You're just accepting the fact that this is your reality. This is not. It can't be our reality. This can't be the fact that you're victim. We honestly cannot sit here for the rest. And we're not doing it just for ourselves right now. We're doing it for our future. We're doing it for our future great grandkids, so they can be like what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all these people did for us. It's continuous there. Fair enough, we're saying that, oh, it's not as bad as it used to be, whatever. And obviously black people were able to do more things than we're able to do, but it's we're not at the top here. We're not where we should be, where we've earned what we've our hard work. We're not able to eat the fruit of our labor yet. So it's continuous, literally generation upon generation upon generation. We need to make sure that our grandkids, when we leave this earth, they are comfortable being black. and not
That's
wishing there was
correct.
some other race.
Exactly. And that's, I think, what I wanted to do, is unlearn the lie that we're victims, unlearn the lie that we are second-rate citizens, unlearn all of those lies. Because we've shown time and time again that we're none of those things. We've shown time and time again we're not animals. We've shown time and time again that we are excellent. We are
Exactly.
excellent. Any career field you want to put us in, we excel. Any sport field. Have you seen sports? All black people.
Yeah, come on. We're dominating the
When black
sports
people
industry.
thrive, when we thrive, we thrive.
So
It's
we're not victims. I need black people to know we are not victims. We're not victims. And for the white people and everybody else watching and everybody else that knows that this is going on, be an ally. What does that mean? Use your privilege for something useful. Pastor Stephen Furtick, if you guys know who that is, the pastor of Elevation Church, he put out one of the best statements I've ever seen. Go and read it, and then you can start from there.
And not just white people, other ethnicities too.
Yeah.
Be an ally.
Start employing more black people. If you're like, there's so many things that there are so many things you can actually do that you just refuse to do. Choose to believe better about black people. Even if your grandma and your great granddad told you black people are this, black people are that, choose to believe the truth. Choose to believe.
You've seen for yourself. You've seen for yourself.
We are not bad. Don't believe the lies that the media is telling you. Like, come on.
We're actually not bad people. Terrorists are bad people.
Like,
we're not that.
And
I don't understand.
I'm telling you. There are terrorists in every
There are terrorists in every race. I'm trying to literally identify what bad is. Terrorists are bad people regardless of the race. They are bad people. We can't be put in that same bracket because we're just living like you.
What you're even saying is perfect, you know. I think the best thing to say is don't identify someone by the color of their skin. Identify them by the content of their character.
100%. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And also as well, just to round up for me, in terms of the looting and the violent protests that's happening in America at the moment, I'm seeing mixed opinions in terms of people saying that yes, it's due, long overdue, they need to do this is that, and others are saying it's not the answer. And I'm in the middle because at the end of the day, as a human nature, if you're constantly trying to get an answer, you get frustrated. So of course you have to take out your anger. You need to show how angry you are in doing certain things. But at the same time, what does that really solve? Because all these, I heard Target, one of the supermarkets in America, is being raided and people are stealing from there, taking things out, looting. Even though that's a form of anger, what's that going to do? That's going to get more black people arrested. That's going to get more black people behind bars. That is kind of what they want at the same time. So it's just
still
100%,
injustice, or don't get yourself in trouble in the process.
Just my closing point literally is to not lose hope. I know seeing all of these videos, seeing hashtag after hashtag after hashtag, seeing murders after murders after murders, because that's what
can be draining.
It's very draining. It's heavy, like I said at the beginning of the video. It's like there's a weight. You're carrying a weight on your shoulders, and it's just, you feel like you can't breathe almost, because it's too much, especially as black people, seeing that our fellow brothers and sisters, this is how they're being treated. It does get a lot. That's why I completely understand why you didn't watch the video, because it is a lot. It's extremely a lot. So that's how I just want to say, don't lose hope. Even with what Temi was saying, with how people are writing, I get it, because there's only so much you can peacefully protest, you know. That's what we've been doing, you know. I remember someone tweeting, growing up in school, the way we were taught about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, it was like Martin Luther King was better and Malcolm X was the rebel. He was
older I get, the more I get it.
But now growing up, I understand Malcolm X's
approach.
I understand his approach, because, and I'm sure he agreed. I'm sure he started off with MLK's approach. But at the end of the day, how many more times are we going to peacefully protest, and yet there's still no answer, yet there's still no change, yet they still think they can get away with doing these kind of things? That's why I get it. And also, just to touch on as well on the Target that they burned down, the reason that they burnt down that specific Target is because they work closely with the police department.
They're sponsoring the department, apparently,
the police department. That's why they did that.
They've done that specific.
Good, but yeah.
Just in case you were wondering why not other shops but Target. Someone said they're called Target, so why they're shocked that they're... Anyway. On one last point, guys, at the end of the day, we're outraged, we're disgusted, we're emotional about everything that's going on, but it's not a trend. It's not something that we do and then we forget tomorrow. This has to be continuous. We have to continuously raise awareness. We have to continuously, until we see that black people are being treated fairly like other races are. Until then, before we rest, like, this is an ongoing cycle. It's not something to trend about and then tomorrow we've forgotten.
I'm gonna continue.
And I can't even imagine like how it must be just as a black woman or a black man, black males specifically, living in America, knowing that this is your home state. That's somewhere that you should be able to call home, but you're not actually free. It's like you're just occupying space there. So I can't even imagine the heaviness that they must be walking around with, the fear, the psychological trauma, the anxiety. It's a lot, and I think people often forget that. But also, I'm gonna, in the description box, I really want to add as well the petition to sign for George Floyd. It's just so that a petition for the state in America, so that the police officers involved can actually be charged, not just fired, because they've been fired. Yes, great, but there's
more to it. They've committed murder. They deserve to go behind bars.
Justice has to be served.
Must be served, 100%.
At the beginning of the video, God is not a God of injustice. The Bible even says to live according to the laws of the land. No one is above that. No one is in excuse of doing so. So if you break any laws, you should be held accountable.
Face the consequences, 100%.
Yep. Thank you for hearing us out, guys. If you want to talk about your thoughts on racism, how we can all do better and raise awareness and everything, let us know.
RIP to everyone that's lost their lives.
Every single person.
Every single one of them. We how much can we say? We don't know every single one of them, but wherever
the ones
they are,
that weren't
RIP
on camera. And the ones that weren't
the
on camera.
100%. Those ones as well.
So
RIP. It's sad.
For watching. We send our love and our light to everybody that has felt traumatized or anything, but we pray that God will continue to be your hope and your strength. And see you in our next video. Bye.
Bye.